Be in the United Kingdom with the two kids. This
boring. So what she's trying to do now is obviously get the children involved, get that sympathy vote, and people love seeing pictures of the children. And I think that's from that sort of point of view.
The plane touched down at Heathrow just past midnight. The tires screeched and that familiar London fog curled against the windows like it was whispering, "Welcome back, stranger." Harry hadn't set foot here in almost 3 years. The lights inside the cabin dimmed, but he couldn't close his eyes. Sleep felt impossible when your world was on the edge of collapse. His mind spun faster than the engines outside each rumor. Every headline, every secret message from Montecito crashing into one deafening truth: the palace wasn't just angry, they were retaliating. The message he'd received hours earlier hadn't come from gossip or a rogue advisor. It had come straight from the institution itself, a secret, cold-worded order that could strip him, Meghan, and little Lily of everything that tied them to royalty. He couldn't shake the memory of that last argument in their kitchen. Meghan had been pacing her voice low, but slicing through the air like glass. "We can fight them," she'd said, eyes blazing under the soft kitchen lights. "We have lawyers, leverage, the media, they'll bend to us." Harry hadn't answered. He just stood there, the silence between them heavier than the marble countertop. The truth was uglier than either of them wanted to admit. The palace never leaked. They plotted, they waited, and then they struck. And now, here he was, thousands of miles from California, seconds from stepping back into the lion's den, wondering if this was the day everything truly ended. By the time he cleared customs, the cameras were already flashing like lightning. Paparazzi swarmed, shouting his name, chasing the sound of his footsteps. He pulled his hoodie low, mask up, anything to hide the panic etched across his face. But the lenses still caught it, that quiet desperation only royalty can't disguise.
Himself, as Prince William is set to go nuclear on him.
His phone wouldn't stop buzzing, a storm of calls from aides, lawyers, and terrified friends whispering the same thing: the palace has moved. Their titles, his identity, were dangling by a thread. Inside the townhouse near Kensington, it felt less like a home and more like a bunker. Cameras on every window, guards at every door. Yet all the security in the world couldn't stop the ache clawing at him. Meghan's voice came through the phone, sharp and commanding, even across the ocean. "Stay calm. We'll strike legally if we have to. Don't give them a single crack to exploit." He scrolled again through the leaked document under the dim light, each word: surgical, merciless. All royal titles conferred upon Prince Harry and associated family members are subject to review and potential removal. No emotion, no warning, just royal precision. He could almost hear Meghan pacing on the other end. "This is what I warned you about. They'll corner us, paint us as unstable, but not this time. We'll control the narrative." Those words echoed as he sat back, feeling the weight of 3 years of exile come crashing down. They'd crossed oceans to escape judgment, but the crown's reach had no borders. By morning, the world was already on fire. Palace orders, review of Sussex titles, crisis at Buckingham. Harry rushes home. Every headline felt like a dagger. Meghan's fury burned hotter. "They think they can silence us. Let them try." He needed answers. Fast. A meeting was arranged.
Father King Charles is great. Following their first meeting in 19 months, which was over a cup of tea, and just 55 minutes long. That's all we got from Harry directly. And I gotta say, I'm not mad at that answer. It's a nice,
A tailored suit. A drive through a gray London that felt colder than memory. The car ride was silent except for the hum of the city beyond the tinted glass. He kept thinking of Meghan, how she'd built their California empire like a fortress. Contracts, partnerships, interviews, and how this single document could destroy it all. By the time he entered the secure conference room, it felt like walking into a trial. Lawyers, aides, palace representatives, everyone stiff, faces unreadable. "The situation is urgent," one advisor said, tone polite but laced with finality. "The palace has acted. We have very little time." Harry's heart pounded. Every second felt like a countdown. He could almost hear Meghan's voice inside his head commanding, "Strategic, turn their strike into leverage." But this wasn't PR, this was power. Real, ancient, royal power, and he was the target. Hours bled together. Every plan felt fragile. Every option came came with danger. When he finally stepped back outside, London had darkened, the streetlights glowing like ghosts. He drew in a breath that tasted like defeat. He'd come home, but it no longer felt like home. Back at the townhouse, the phone rang again. Megan, her voice tight and trembling with fury. "They're serious, Harry. They're going to strip everything. We move now or we lose it all." He sank onto the couch, rubbing his temples. "It's worse than I thought," he muttered. There was a pause, and then her voice softened, almost tender. "We knew this would come, but we'll survive it. We always do." He wanted to believe her, but for the first time, the old walls of royalty felt unbreakable again. Morning came gray and heavy. The tabloids were merciless palace to strike off Sussex titles. Royal insiders confirmed.
Source for royal news, and quite right, not that we're biased. Harry said in his BBC interview that he was forced to step away from royal duty due to security concerns. I thought Harry and Meghan had decided to leave.
Decision imminent. The PR team scrambled. Meghan rewrote every line of their upcoming statements herself, her handwriting neat but electric. "They'll regret underestimating us," she told him, eyes fierce over the video call. Harry nodded, though his stomach twisted. He was fighting ghosts, family ghosts, institutional ghosts, and this time even love might not be enough. By afternoon, their legal teams met with a former palace insider, a man who'd once walked those gilded halls and survived their politics. His advice was cutting. Control the narrative before they do. You show fear once, they'll destroy you twice. Meghan leaned in, taking notes every inch the strategist. Harry just listened. Exhaustion pressing down like armor. "You're on their turf now," the advisor warned. "And they've been training for this battle since birth. I just wanted to fix things," Harry said quietly, voice almost breaking, "to prove we still mattered." "You do," Meghan replied, her hand gripping his arm. "But we don't beg for relevance, we claim it." Then the next blow, another leak. This time suggesting the review could extend to their charities, their foundation, their public roles. The internet went wild. Hashtags trended within minutes. Supporters rallied, critics tore them apart. Every tweet, every video, every meme pulled at the strings of their carefully built image. Meghan's calm didn't waver. "Let them scream," she said, scrolling through the chaos. "We'll give them a show, but on our stage." As evening fell, Harry stepped out onto the townhouse balcony. London glittered below a city that had raised him. Now watching him fall, Meghan joined him, quiet but resolute. "They want panic," she said softly. "We'll give them poise." He looked at her, heart heavy but steady. For a moment, the noise faded. Just them two exiles wrapped in the cold air, daring the world to look away. The next morning broke with headlines screaming like sirens. Royal crisis deepens. Secret palace, order confirmed. Phones buzzed. Advisors panicked. Every minute mattered. Meghan was already dressed, hair pulled back, eyes laser focused as she flipped through legal drafts. "We go first," she said. "We speak before they do. We lead." Harry wanted to believe that strategy could outmatch monarchy, but the odds were merciless. Still, she drafted the statement strong, graceful, defiant, something that would make even the palace flinch. When the response finally came from Buckingham, it was ice cold. "The review concerning the Sussex titles is ongoing. No further comment will be made." 7 words that said everything. Social media detonated. Old clips resurfaced, past interviews dissected, every gesture replayed like evidence in a trial. Legal teams called nonstop. Advisors whispered about damage control, but Meghan didn't blink. "We control what comes next," she told him, summoning the inner circle for a closed-door war room session. The plan: flood the narrative with strength, unity, charity, and grace. Every move deliberate. Every headline redirected. Harry watched her in awe. She was fire wrapped in calm, the storm in the shelter all at once. As the sun dipped behind London's skyline, their counter-narrative went live press statements, social posts, carefully timed interviews, and slowly, so subtly it almost went unnoticed, the tone began to shift. Sympathy crept in, admiration even. For the first time, the palace seemed to be reacting, not commanding. Harry exhaled for the first time in days. "You did it," he whispered. Meghan just smiled faintly. We started it, she said. The night stretched on, the two of them side by side, laptops open, eyes tired but alive. Outside, the streets slept, but inside that townhouse, war rooms buzzed. Every text, every call was strategy. Every heartbeat defiance. By dawn, the next leak hit, palace aides briefing the press that Harry and Meghan were unsteady and reactive. It was a trap and Meghan saw it instantly. They want mistakes, she said, voice calm, eyes sharp. So we give them silence and control. Harry paced. It's never enough. No matter what we do. She stopped him with one sentence. Then we make our truth louder than their tradition. The next hours blurred into battle rhythm. Drafts approved, interviews lined up, allies rallied, cameras would roll, but this time on their terms. When Meghan stepped into frame, she didn't defend, she declared. Her words weren't apology. They were a statement of survival. And somehow the world listened. Online chatter softened. Supporters multiplied. Even tabloids shifted from accusation to curiosity. The palace, for the first time, hesitated its silence, no longer power, but retreat. That night, exhaustion hit. Harry collapsed into the armchair, head in hands. I don't know how you do it, he said quietly. Meghan crossed to him, resting her hand on his shoulder. Because I have to. Because they'll never stop testing us. And because you're worth fighting for. He looked up, eyes glistening with something between love and disbelief. We'll get through this, she said. Firm now. Her voice, both command and comfort. Together. Outside, London pulsed with oblivious calm. Inside, two souls plotted their next move against an empire. The palace had tried to silence them, but instead, it had awakened something far more dangerous, purpose. And as midnight melted into dawn, one truth remained unshakable. They would not go quietly. Harry stared at the muted city lights through the glass, feeling the ache of everything he'd left behind, the family that now treated him like a stranger, the institution that once defined his name, and the quiet life he and Meghan had built so far away. It all felt fragile now, like a glass crown ready to shatter at the slightest touch. The phone buzzed again, another update from their team. Meghan glanced at the screen, reading silently, then sighed. They're already spinning new stories, she murmured. Anonymous sources, fabricated quotes, they're painting us as desperate. Harry's jaw tightened. Then let them. Desperate people don't strategize, they survive. His voice was low but steady now. Something had shifted. The helplessness had turned into resolve. Meghan turned to him, her expression softening. We've been running from their game for too long, she said quietly. Maybe it's time we stop hiding and start rewriting it. He nodded, stepping closer until they stood shoulder to shoulder, staring out at the sleeping city. The palace might hold the titles, but they held the narrative, and for the first time, that felt like power. Whatever happens next, Meghan whispered, her fingers brushing his. We face it together. Harry exhaled slowly. Together, he repeated, and meant it.